Today is April 18th. And you know what that means. Daily number 6. Also, National Animal Cracker Day. So bust out some animal crackers. They're delicious. I'm also blue today, which it's a little bit troubling. My lighting is a bit weird. I think the blue is coming from my window with the sky and the water out there making everything blue. So today I'll just be blue. Anyway, we're going over NRG versus Selfless. And I think everything's all set up. I know the last few dailies have been tragic and wrought with awful technical difficulties. But this one, I think finally, we have okay. So here we are, NRG versus Selfless. This was a previous game that happened a little bit earlier on in the Alienware Arena OMM. And so NRG is defending here. Selfless is attacking, of course. And Selfless, what I want to highlight here is this. So Synatraa is playing Tracer, and they will run this composition throughout the entire map. They will never switch off of this, ever. And so it's 2-2-2, obviously. This is all very nice and backliney here. You have the peeling Roadhog with the shield and the 2 backline supports, and the Lucio just there. Lucio, Lucio, the new Lucio, is a little bit stronger for healing as well compared to usual. Except instead of running that third tank, like a lot of teams prefer running the Zarya, they run a Tracer. And so this obviously isn't unheard of, but I would like to look at the effects of this, and having Synatraa doing that backline sort of stuff is pretty helpful. And here NRG is running the normal triple tank stoof with the soldier and the 3 tanks and all that. So they're coming up at the top. And now this is actually pretty important, because this is one of the main weaknesses of this particular composition from NRG, is that they can't move very much. So exploiting this high ground type of position is pretty good. Dufran gets a kill on Ajax, who pushed pretty far up, it looks like. Runs right past everyone. See you later, Harblue. And so now, Dufran is up top here. And with the help of his Lucio, he's going to take out Harblue pretty easily, 1v2, no problem. And so now, let's look at NRG's lineup. They have this. Nobody has vertical mobility. Nobody can shoot up except for IDD Cutie on Soldier. And even then, he can't shoot a rocket up, and that's actually a big part of Soldier's strength, is shooting a rocket up, right? So how do you deal with the high ground? Well, you don't. You don't. As you see, Selfless is just going to take a whole terrible amount of damage here from Dufran. Now, fortunately, they managed to mitigate the visor quite a bit, but Ajax tries to pull off a 1v1. That's right, Lucio has vertical mobility. But we saw where that got him. Even though Mendo Kasai gets like a like a pentakill here, basically. Dufran is still up here being crazy. And so that was, by the way, really sick. Mendo Kasai literally got a pentakill on Zarya with the help of Dummy's nano boost. But here we go. IDD Cutie tries to go up and find the 1v1, but at that point, I mean, Dufran can just run away. Dufran has good enough eyes that he can just run. And so now NRG is pushed back, and they lose the point. Although they did manage to stall for a really long time compared to the fact that they had Dufran up there in the high ground, just completely annihilating them for that entire time. So that was actually pretty impressive, all things considered. Now, they're doing Selfless is doing the regular thing where they will push them up. But let's actually, real quick, talk about that. So on King's Row, you see a lot of times teams will run the tanky type of defense on the first point. But that we just saw there, the core weakness is that there is no vertical mobility. There really is no true mobility. So when you dive them, when you get a dive in, when you exploit that high ground, there's really not much they can do about it. That's why I kind of prefer either an even harder backline comp, like drop the Lucio, just go full on hard, like maybe even have a Torbjorn there, possibly Zenyatta, go full on super tank, so that hopefully you can just brute force out of any outpositioning, or run some sort of flanking hero, like running a Genji is very popular. And Genji can clear, or a Diva is another very popular choice. So that you can clear out the top whenever that sort of terrible position happens, which it will happen if you're up against a team like Selfless that has a really good eye for finding openings like that. So this is a pretty normal thing. NRG could have been grouped up a little bit more, but at the same time, teams are still not very used to things like what Selfless does, where they play very aggro up. And so at this point, though, we'll look. There's one person pushing the cart. You have to ask yourself at this point, is it a little bit more worth it for Selfless to just get back and have 3 people push the cart? Because even then, yeah, you don't stall for quite as long, but when 3 people push the cart, it pushes, over twice as fast as when just one person's pushing. So you have to ask yourself that question. And we see that Selfless will lose a few people. Obviously, NRG's pushing out. There's nothing they can really do about it. If Selfless was able to contain NRG here, then, well, they can. Let's just say that NRG is, a professional team. And so now they're going to get 3 on the payload. Well, all right, here we go. Now we're going to get 2 on the payload with Lucio speed boosting everyone up. Now that NRG's returned, Selfless gets back. Very good of Kresnik to not stand on the payload too long. So what was the result of that? We saw that the payload got halfway through the streets phase with literally no contest at all. Selfless didn't have to fight anybody. They didn't have to have a team fight. They didn't have to do anything. They just pushed it. They just had Kresnik in the back, even though they lost going up there. And that is the strength of the attackers on Kings Row streets. And I think we'll see defensive teams start to learn more how to deal with that pressure, because it's very, very effective now. So barrier in. Now, look, Numlock does have the ultimate. He can look for something. It's all about... This is literally Numlock versus Kresnik at this point, now that the barrier is gone. But Kresnik doing a good job shielding the potential Earthshatter from Numlock. So Numlock can't get it off, and Roadhog goes up and bullies him. And so you have to wonder, that's kind of weird. Where was the rest of his team? Well, that's what we're talking about. That's what I was alluding to before, of Synatraa in the back being very, very annoying. And so what Synatraa does is this guy doesn't die. That's his entire job in life, is to just not die. He doesn't even need to get any kills, which he does, by the way. He has good aim. He has good tracking. He does get kills. He does get harass off. But as long as he doesn't die, then it opens up a lot of space for his team. And so instead of having a Zarya that gives you more punching power in the front, they run a Tracer that forces the other team to sort of turn around a little bit more. And now we saw a little bit, NRG tried to take the point. Good whole hog by Emong, pushed them off so they couldn't, put them in an awkward position. Everyone tried to run away. Selfless doesn't let them run away because they're selfless and they're good like that. And now we're trying to come back. NRG now remember. All right. By the way, NRG swapped off a little while ago. I forgot to mention this. Oh no, I forgot to mention something. RIP. But a little while ago, IDDQD swapped off of the Soldier onto Tracer. And so this is a little bit interesting. And I don't particularly favor this, because NRG was running into an issue before where they couldn't quite punch through. They couldn't quite punch through, because part of the allure of running triple tank is you have so much peel for your backline that your Soldier player can just do whatever he wants. Just do anything. And as you guys know, a Soldier player who can do whatever he wants, it's pretty sick. But instead of running the Tracer doesn't really utilize all the powerful aspects of triple tank, so they don't have a tremendous amount of punching power in the front. Yes, they do have the Tracer Bomb combo, which is, it's okay, right? We can see that even though NRG had a favorable defensive position there, they couldn't. It was really hard because Selfless just still beat them in the front line, because Defran is, of course, playing Soldier. Still, they do get knocked back because Selfless missed a couple shots here or there. They just died. NRG, like I said, had a favorable defensive position. So it's okay. 3 minutes remaining. NRG has this. Has it stabilized. Now, they've actually managed to do a pretty good job stalling so far. They haven't won anything, by the way. Notice, and this is pretty interesting when this happens, but NRG has never won anything. Like, Selfless has been winning this entire time, and yet NRG do a good job of, despite losing all these team fights and always being on the back foot, they manage to keep it up so that they don't just completely get rolled over. It's still 3 minutes, remember. Still 3 minutes. DAC barrier's in a little bit early, actually. That barrier, as you can see, doesn't really get anything. And so that's quite unfortunate. At the same time, the barrier not super useful in this particular situation. There isn't too much to barrier from NRG. They do have Mando Kasai's ultimate on Zarya, so they do have Graviton Surge. It's okay. Although IDDQD opens up the fight with a Pulse Bomb, and then later on the fight gets off another Pulse Bomb, actually. So that's pretty sick. Zarya ultimate comes out as well. So lots of... so first of all, really nicely done by IDDQD, but also they burn the Zarya ultimate. So now it's Selfless's turn to come in and hopefully do something. They have Nano Visor, so it's pretty much their fight to win. And NRG tends to do this a little bit too much. They come up, overextend a bit. See IDDQD try to do like this 1v5 scenario to pick off Defran. Didn't quite work. And when you lose 3 people like that, it's a little bit lame. So they kind of waste the Nano Visor here, unfortunately. NRG thought that they would find more than they actually did. So that was unfortunate. Defran also pushes up quite far, actually. I think that they kind of underestimated the amount of distance they had to push, or the amount of resistance they would get, because basically Defran there, he's Mercy now apparently. So Defran, this is like an all-in position essentially. He came up, he's saying, that's it, this is over. We won the like push, basically. Comes in just to stop him, and I don't think he realized that there was all this going on and that his team was actually going to be stopped, because now he's in kind of a poor position, gets killed by IDDQD. And of course, Soldier up so far, not in the best of positions to get damage off. And so, swaps off to Mercy for a second. Interestingly enough, I think that was probably a misclick. I'm not too sure though, because that did cost him. If you look, he was playing Soldier and he had 15% ultimate, and he swapped off and now he has 0% ultimate. So, a bit strange. I don't know how you press H and then you click on Mercy and then you hit OK. That's something we would have to ask Defran about. So, we're resetting now. Already down to 1 minute. NRG doing a good job. They've only really won 2 team fights, and part of it is, like I said, having good. So Numblock misses the Earth Shatter. Unfortunately, he misses a lot of Earth Shatters this game. Kresnik does a really good job of shielding them, and now Kresnik has his own Earth Shatter, which because there's no Reinhardt shield, it's looking pretty scary now, and a lot of NRG is pretty scared of the Earth Shatter too. They know they have the Earth Shatter. It's ready. I don't know if they actually need it at some point before they push this in, but Selfless will wind up pushing this in. Kresnik's just waiting there. There we go. All right, that was the first round. So 22 seconds left in the time bank. Not too bad. And also, by the way, speaking of cheeky swaps, Synatraa swaps to Bastion here, because this is sort of an all-in swap. They're saying, okay, this is our final push. If Synatraa switches to Bastion, comes back up, then they win the fight. Like, there is no more stalling at that point. Once a Bastion hits the field, the stall party is over. So, let's go to the next round. Post haste. And here's something very interesting. So Mando Kasai is just gonna, do the normal thing where you're Hanzo and you just shoot at the Sonic Arrow, and then he's gonna swap off to a different hero. I said knowingly, surprising you, as he actually does not. He stays on it. Whoa, what's up with that? It's a Hanzo. So obviously this Hanzo is being run in the place of, by the way, that was really cute. Although it was kind of Michael 3D's fault for eating that. Still, not every day you play against a Hanzo. So this Hanzo is actually in the slot. Let's let him respawn so we can see his beautiful face. There we go. This Hanzo is in the slot of a Roadhog, because NRG runs Mendo Kasai as because IDDQD is the DPS slot. He normally would be playing the soldier. He was playing Tracer. Just the way their composition works, that is the slot for their Roadhog. And they're playing Hanzo instead, huh? So they're playing 2-2-2, and it's sort of the same thing that Selfless was doing, except instead of, well, a soldier, or for NRG a Roadhog, they're running a Hanzo. Interesting. What's the strength a Hanzo has over any of these other heroes? Well, the answer is none. He doesn't have any strength over them. But what he does have is his ultimate. And so Mendo Kusai's ultimate plus Harblu's Graviton Surge is a guaranteed teamfight win, you can call it, with the Dragon plus Graviton Surge combo. And so this is a very risky composition. If you come in, Hanzo's not terrible, right? He's just inferior to some of the other choices. If you come in and you win the fight, then you basically automatically win Streets Phase because you have the combo available to you. Of course, like I said, it is risky because Mendo Kusai is no longer playing the Roadhog, so there is less peel now for their team. So Dummy's in more danger. Mendo Kusai himself on Hanzo is in danger. And of course, because Synatraa is doing Synatraa-y stuff, that can be a little bit difficult for them. Still 3 minutes left on the clock. They haven't pushed up yet. And by the way, like I was saying before, Mendo Kusai, a little bit of trouble, 24 health. Just any day now, I think that Synatraa will come back and kill him. Just one quick blink. There we go. And so, yeah, this team composition is definitely inferior. The idea, though, is if they can win the first point utilizing the advantage that the attackers provide, that the attacking role provides them, then they can come into the Streets Phase and automatically win. Or worst comes to worst, if they can't win this, then they still have the combo and they can just take it. Right now, we have Hanzo has his ultimate, Harblu on Zarya almost has his ultimate, and so they can just win the fight anyway, basically. Against most team compositions, by the way. He dies again, and that's just because the team composition doesn't let him have an appeal. But NRG actually winds up taking the fight. Pretty cool. So now, they have this combo to use in Streets Phase, theoretically. They still haven't quite taken the point yet, though. IDQD is trying to hunt down Synatraa. So good at not dying, by the way. One of the better tracers as far as the not dying part goes. But Defran from Selfless actually makes his way into the back, dies. And so that's a little bit interesting here, how NRG just triggers it. And I think, well, first of all, they've got to be very scared, right? This is really a matter of time management. So there's a big difference here. Let's talk about it. So Selfless right now has 22 seconds left in the time bank. 22 seconds left. That's not a lot. That's not like a great, amazing take. It's just a take at all. NRG, obviously trying to get the first point. So they don't have to take giant leaping risks now. It's not like Selfless has 4 minutes left on the clock. NRG has to get this sick, crazy time. They only have to beat 22 seconds, or at least come kind of close, right? So they don't have to take these big risks. They don't have to say, oh, I don't know, should we save the ultimate? I don't know. So that's why they're just playing it safe, saying, hey, we don't want to deal with this anymore. We don't want anything crazy to happen. We're just going to pop the combo here. And like I said, I think that if they were up against a bigger time bank from Selfless, that would have been, a more difficult decision. If Selfless had 2 minutes or 3 minutes, it would have been like, I don't know, we need this combo for Streets Phase. But now that it's blown, Mendo, yeah, okay. So I was going to say he should swap off of the Hanzo now because that's done. That combo is done and gone. We're already in Streets Phase. You don't have it anymore. IDQD, very nice pulse bomb onto Defran. That's going to give them a huge amount of breathing room as they come up through here. Pulse bomb. Oh, dummy couldn't quite walk away from it. couldn't see which direction it was coming from. A little bit of an awkward corner there, so it's understandable. But now, Selfless on defense. We have the sprinting Defran. He's returned. NRG kind of doing some crazy stuff here, actually. We see that Tracer player is IDQD. Also in the back, we saw Numlocked on Reinhardt go crazy. And a little bit disorganized, I think. And Selfless actually has a composition to deal with that because Synatraa, like I said, is on Tracer. So they're going to try to stir up some weird, fighty, brawly types of fights. Although NRG has all of the answers themselves. Dummy, though, has to be careful. Dummy is now in very dangerous position. Oh, never mind. They swapped off to the tank, so now it's a regular triple tank thing. Except IDQD is playing Tracer. But like I said, still more damage comes out from Selfless, plus Synatraa can deal with IDQD. So NRG taking a nice path here. I actually think that this is a really cool path that they're taking. It's not like a brand new path, but it is cool. So what this does is when they come here, they can observe. They can say, okay, what's going on? What's going on? And they can either jump down or they can flank all the way around depending on what they see. And just coincidentally, they find Defran here. They didn't know that Defran was here, but coincidentally, it also happens to deal with this. So that's pretty cool. Huh. So NRG with a nice little strat, and you can see that they're rotating around here. Cool. Not too bad. This is a good way to get through all this trash that you have to deal with over by the cart. And Defran now, or any soldier player in this position, or backline player, has a difficult choice. He makes this decision. And so this decision looks pretty good on paper where he just backs up. That's cool. This, because NRG is coming down, Defran backs up. This looks good. But there is this very rarely used path in the back. And a great flank around from Harblu says, I don't think so. And so I don't think that was a terrible mistake from Defran. That was just a really well executed strategy from NRG. Really good, really solid. Barrier also comes out, and also a nice hook there. So it looks like NRG is about to take the point, but oh no. That's one of those oh no moments where you do everything right, but then Kresnik says, I don't care, I'm going to do a Penta Earth Shatter and kill everybody. Huh. Look at that. So throughout the series, Kresnik just completely dominated Numlocked pretty much, which is pretty unfortunate for NRG when the team with the better Reinhardt does have a significant advantage over maybe any other role. So now we're doing the same thing. And this is why I said this is cool. All right, we're at the window now. The Reinhardt's standing here. Because the Reinhardt is body blocking the window, Selfless cannot quite see what's going on behind him. So I hope the camera shifts. Okay, there we go. You see that actually Selfless backed up quite a lot, because they thought, oh no, NRG is doing the thing, the loop around again. But instead, Selfless can just, NRG rather can just jump down. So it's a cool dual-pronged nature of that approach. It kind of, oh, and by the way, Numlock gets his thing blocked again. Pretty unfortunate. Like I said, Kresnik just tearing it up really in this entire series, making Numlock look like a complete beginner. But it's not because Numlock is a beginner, it's because Kresnik is just so darn good. He already has his Earth Shatter up again. And actually, part of the big strength of Selfless is just that Kresnik is so darn reliable. With only 50 seconds remaining, we'll have to see, though, what happens. Dak has a barrier, but he's not there yet on Selfless. Dak will not be here for this next fight. He's respawning. And even though he is Lucio and he goes really, really fast, I don't think he goes quite that fast. NRG choosing to do the fast route, by the way. Notice we only have 30 seconds left on the clock. We can potentially get another fight. If we lose. We don't know, but maybe. But if we go on the top route, that's going to take so long that we definitely won't have another fight. So they're going to go for the very fast break. And they actually go all the way around Kresnik and friends. And let's see who can get off the Earth Shatter. If we get another big one, oh dear, he gets two. And again, Numlock doesn't block it. And Kresnik just finding his way around the shield this entire time. In Streets phase, I think that, maybe NRG could have swapped off to something different. But at the same time, like if you're getting outplayed, the answer is sometimes to just play better instead of swapping off. But that was the match, or that was the map, rather. There is another map after this, but we're not going to see it on Toronto. Selfless does wind up taking the set, but overall, I thought that was a pretty good demonstration of some cool strats by NRG, because NRG does have cool strats, and some cool execution by Selfless, and really utilizing Synatraa, like I said before, the tracer who just never dies, in the back line, just mess everybody up, screw everybody up, and, well, it worked very well. So 2-2-2 with the tracer instead of the 3-3-2-1 triple tank with the Zarya. That's what Selfless runs, and they do it very aggressively. It's part of their whole shtick. Anyway, nice. We'll take questions now. We'll take questions now as I drink from my goblets. That's not actually goblets. Ooh, that looks cool. Huh, with the green screen there? It's like I'm pouring out of my ghost flask, or ghost pitcher rather, would be the name. Is get good the solution to everything? When it comes to Reinhardt versus Reinhardt battles, and one Reinhardt getting off like 5 mana Earth Shatters and the other one getting off no Earth Shatters, then unfortunately that is sometimes the case. Although it isn't just the Reinhardt guys, it is the team supporting the Reinhardt as well. So all of Selfless, remember, Selfless had Synatraa as Tracer in the back being very, 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 very annoying, turning heads, and so that opened it up for Kresnik to do a lot more than like in any other team. All right. We will take one more questione. One more questione. Does Sky have lipstick on? No, it's just that the lighting is really blue. Because outside is the blue sky and the blue water, and I have a window open and just all this blue light is coming in. And the only way to fix it, I think, is to get curtains. Like really heavy curtains, and then to put lights in there. I will fix my lights one of these days. Until then, I'm a smurf. Until then, I'm a smurf. Any reason your title isn't VOD review oriented? Oh, it's because I always forget. What was the biggest weakness on NRG? The biggest weakness on NRG was, well, it's hard to say the biggest weakness because like the biggest weakness, especially from just one camera angle, we did see that the Reinhardt had a lot of issues dealing with Synatraa turning heads, and the Reinhardt was in the front. I think that if they had run more backline, so if they'd run like a soldier in the backline instead of IDDQD on the tracer, they would have had more ability to look forward and more ability for the Reinhardt player to focus a little bit more on the front, because with IDDQD on the tracer, the backline was just kind of sitting there by themselves with just supports, no DPS, and so the Reinhardt actually had to pay a lot more attention to behind him than normal. So I thought that was one thing. There was a lot of stuff that happened in the match, though. That's something to think about, though. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for watching. For the stream, we will be playing a couple of games. For YouTube, though, this is where we part ways. So never forget to stay positive and have a great day. Adios.